Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Pastor Jay, here with your Cultivate Moment. And I have a special guest here with me today. He's my friend. We've been friends almost 2 years.
No,
Exactly.
almost three.
Almost three? It's been 3 years? Man, seems like time flies by when you're having fun. And so I want y'all to help me celebrate my boy, Rich Heller. What's up, Rich?
Hey,
Man, how you feeling today?
good.
Hey, thank you for coming to do this podcast with me. Um, I believe that we do our podcast to be able to inspire people to do better, know better, because when you know better, you do better. But today, we're really specializing this after fathers because I think a lot of times we ask ourselves, you know, can we do this? Like, is this something that we can do? Being a father is not the easiest thing, especially not in 2026.
It's the hardest job, but it's also the most rewarding.
Most rewarding. And tell us a little bit about you. Like, who are you? What do you do? You have a son yourself, so
Yeah.
kind of like give us some information about who you are.
I've got a 19-year-old son. His name is Michael. He's a college student at Ole Miss. Um, I had him with my ex wife, Melissa. We got divorced we separated at the beginning of 2012 and got divorced in 2012. Um, on paper, we had 50-50 custody. And, it, the one thing I always wanted to do is make sure that he grew up in an environment where he was able to respect and love both parents. He didn't have to choose between me and his mom.
Right.
And that was, I figured that was the most healthy situation he could have.
Yeah.
Um, I was born 1971
So you're an
in,
old guy.
yeah, I'm 54.
Man, let's go. All right.
Um, I sell printing for a company that I opened up.
Okay.
Um, I'm just a regular guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Work
Yeah.
hard.
Yep. Work
Yeah.
hard, try and do the right thing,
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
on my relationship with God, try to be disciplined with working out, and be a good friend, good man, and good dad.
I love that. Well, today I want to look at the concept of fatherhood. You lead our men's ministry,
Mhm.
helping cultivate brotherhood and realizing that we're not in this thing alone. You taught a really great lesson yesterday out of John chapter 2. Um, and we were really able to reevaluate our own personal temples because I think sometimes we can get so caught up in what the world has to offer until we forget who God has really called us as men to be. But today we're going to really focus on the concept of fatherhood and I don't know about you, but I didn't always have the best example
Yeah.
of fatherhood. How do you get past that point where you ask God or ask yourself or ask others, am I doing a great job? How did you measure raising a 19-year-old who is now at Ole Miss? Shout out to Michael. Michael, what's up? Um, how did you how did you gauge whether or not you were a good father?
One of the things I always kept in mind, and one of the things I always told my son, is that I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Um, as far as the way my dad raised me, I took a lot of the things that I agreed with. I took what I wanted from the way I was raised, and I used it. I took the things that I did not agree with, and I just kind of put it behind. I said, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
My situation was kind of different in that my dad's father died when he was 11 years old. So he didn't really have a dad growing up.
Or a role model.
Yeah, well, he had a
Yeah.
role model, but
Okay.
in those formative years, teenager, preteens, I mean, his dad was gone,
Yeah.
and he was raised by in a single mom household, and then he was sent off to a military school where the male role models that he had was Colonel Lillidge, who is a Serbian colonel
Mm-hmm.
who fought in World War II.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a very warm and fuzzy guy.
Yeah.
And so my dad never really had that father son bond, in his childhood. I mean, his dad was a good man. He loved his dad. He put his dad up on a pedestal, but his dad, um, left when he's very young, and so he didn't have a lot of the tools that a lot of guys had raising me.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important that we have to understand that our parents are fallible.
Yeah.
They're human beings. They make mistakes.
Yeah.
We have to view that and we have to forgive them
Yeah.
for anything that they did. Because if you hold that in, you're going to be bitter and angry.
Yes.
Secondly, you have to understand that you're fallible and you're going to make mistakes. And, I think fatherhood kind of boils down to doing the right thing a whole bunch of little times, just being present, being loving when you have to, being strict when you have to. If your kid messes up, you have to let them know, hey, I messed you up. I messed up. But you also have to understand that you don't want them to think that that's the end of the world, that they're just, that they can't rebound.
Yeah.
Um, I think being a father is just being it's consistent discipline and just being present as much as you can.
So we talked about you raising a 19-year-old. I want to ask this: was there ever a moment in your life, in the life of raising Michael, that you had some type of regret, like you felt like you could have done something differently, and then how did you handle that?
I wish that I could have provided him with a two-parent home. That is a huge regret.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into the reasoning for that. Marriages end all the time. The the way that I got around that is that I made sure that I was there.
Yeah.
I didn't let anything get in my way. My son was my priority.
Yeah.
He came before girlfriends, he came before my social life, he came before everything. And I was at school events, I rearranged my schedule. I made sure that I was there.
But hold up, you were busy.
Yeah, I was real
You
busy.
still worked,
Well, I
but you
still
still showed
worked.
up.
I still showed up. I worked um, at the time when he was young. Both my parents, I was the primary caretaker for both my parents. I mean, I was busy. I was busier than I had a full time job, and I was basically taking care of my two parents. One of which was practically bedridden, the other was confined in a wheelchair, and that was the first like 5 years of his life. And so, I mean, I was busy. I had priorities. I had stuff that I needed to do, but he always knew I was going to be there. I didn't make excuses. I didn't go out on dates and forget about basketball games or baseball games. I was there. It's about being present and making sure that he knows you care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another thing that I did is I made sure that we had dinner together. Whenever we were together, we sat down and we had dinner. It may be at a sports bar, it may be at my apartment. Neither one of us were on our phones, and we sat down and we talked and we connected that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
And
it's important.
yes,
Because those are the moments
that you bond.
that you bond with. We're in when they go through different situations and circumstances, they learn from those moments when dad was present.
Yeah,
And I think uh, in this day and age, men find it harder to be present than any other time because they feel like they just have to do or be this
hmm
guy. How did you ever like get into that mode? Like, you know what? I don't have to be the YouTube dad. I can be rich to Michael. Like, how did you come to that sense?
I just it just I don't really know. I just kind of like I just was. I knew that if Michael knew that I was going to be there and he knew I was going to be there for him, I just kind of figured that everything was going to be okay, and I left the rest up to God. And
You let God deal with the
yeah,
how.
exactly.
Wow.
I just and the one thing that I made sure of is that I did not want my son being afraid of me. I'm 6'3". I weigh over 250 pounds. I'm a substantial guy.
Yeah.
And when I get pissed, I look like the Hulk. I didn't want him being afraid of me. My friend Romeo made sure I understood that because he had a son before me. I wanted him to be afraid of disappointing me, not afraid of me.
Yeah.
And that way, if he did do something wrong, I wanted him to understand, okay, I can come to dad, he's going to be there for me. Yeah, he's going to be angry. Yeah, he's going to be disappointed, but I'm going to tell him first that I messed up, and then I'll deal with the consequences, and the consequences are going to be they're going to be they're going to be swift, they're going to be sure, they're definitely going to happen, but they're also going to be fair.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to worry about me, beating him. It may be, it may be difficult, but he's not going to worry about me hurting him.
Right. Right.
And I think that's where a lot of guys mess up too, is that a lot of times when you're a leader and you have authority, you can't abuse that authority. You have to be respected by the people that you're leading.
I want to talk about that because last night you talked about being respectful to men, other men, and how you'll walk away if men do not respect you. But, I came from the household of this is my house, you do as I say, don't do as I do, but do as I say, do.
Yeah,
How did you find, or you both find mutual respect for each other where you learned how to respect your son because he has come into manhood. He's been a man
yeah.
since 15, 16. He's come into this manhood. How did you learn how to balance that without feeling disrespected when he wanted to do something? Because I know you guys' story.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Like when he wanted to do something different, how were you able to respect and honor him at the same time? Still remind him, hey, I'm your dad. How
The
did how
one
did that work?
thing that I always did, I did not, my parents smoked a lot. And they used to always tell me, I don't want you smoking.
Yeah,
Um, I don't want you smoking cigarettes. I don't want you drinking alcohol. And then I would see them doing it. And then it was that do as I say, not as I do.
yeah,
That annoyed the crap out of me growing up.
yeah.
And so what I decided is I wasn't going to be like that. That was one of those things that I took from my dad that I did not agree with. And so I would always tell him when he'd lip off to his mom or disrespect his mom, look, if I got to be nice to her, you got to be nice to her.
1,000%.
If I don't want you doing drugs, look, I'm not doing drugs. You're not going to do drugs.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want you drinking. Guess what? I didn't drink. I don't want him going around and sleeping around with a bunch of women. I didn't bring a lot of the women. I didn't bring a lot of women in the house.
Yeah.
He didn't see me doing that. Children are looking at you and they're going to mimic your behavior.
Talk to the camera because that man needs to hear that one more
Children
time.
are they're going to mimic you. They're
Yeah.
watching everything you
Yeah.
do and they're going to mimic your behavior. If you're off drinking, doing drugs, smoking cigarettes, smoking marijuana, if you're off um, acting foolish with women, that's the way they're going to you're the role model. If you have a daughter, she's going to marry a guy like you. If you have a son, guess what? You're a mirror image of what he's going to end up like.
Absolutely.
And so I led by example. And I think that's where a lot of guys make the mistake is they don't lead by example. It's
Yeah.
that do as I say, not as I do.
So how did
I
you find mutual respect? Because he came into his own man, and
I part it's difficult to kind of explain, but I also have to understand it as he's growing up. Yeah, he's gonna listen to me
yeah,
on a lot of things, but I also have to give him room to make his own mistakes.
Yeah.
He's an adult now, and I got to give him the freedom to mess up so that he can learn. And I'm there to support him. I'm kind of like an advisor now. I mean, I obviously can't ground him. He's in college.
Right.
Um, I can't, he's too big to whoop. I just can't. I can't control every aspect of his life.
And in not controlling what has happened, Rachel, once you touch the bottom of that screen, no, no,
Oh,
the screen. What has happened? Hopefully, it's still running. I see the green light. But what has happened is he has been able to make great mind decisions on his own
yeah,
based off of what you have taught him throughout this journey. Um, because you were not that dogmatic dad, but you allowed him to go through the process and you respected the process. And I think too many times men try to micromanage their
yeah,
children to determine what their outcome will be versus allowing them to experience the outcome and see God in their lives.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You're trying to make sure, okay, I don't want them to do this, I don't want them to do that, I don't want them. And don't get me wrong, we are to train up a child, the Bible says, in the way that they shall go. But that when they get older, they may depart, but they will come back, meaning that they will have an opportunity to be a kid and make crazy choices. But does the crazy choice mean you're a bad dad?
No, it doesn't, because I know a lot of really good dads who, because of circumstances beyond their control, whether it's a mother who undermined him, or um, friends that came into his life that
Yeah,
led him astray, and you didn't realize it until he was too late, until it was too late. Whether it was just a bad decision that the kid made on his own without any influences at all you can do is just impart knowledge, be present, and just do the best you can.
yeah,
One thing that I do now is that I am also really big on telling him about consequences. I told him growing up, today you answer to me, tomorrow you're going to answer to law enforcement.
absolutely.
Um, and if I tell him, like, unfortunately he's drinking now. He's a college student. I don't agree with it, but I've told him, okay, if you try and drive while you're doing this, here are the consequences.
These are
Here's what's going to
consequences.
happen to you.
Yeah,
And I've told him I don't agree with you doing this. I'm against it. I'm not his mom. I'm not like, well, I'll just get you an Uber and you can drink the beer at the house and I'm going to be the cool mom. No, no. I tell him flat out, no, I do not agree with what you're doing. Um, you're an adult, and I'm honest with him. When I was your age, I did that and worse.
yeah,
But I want you to learn from my mistakes and not do what I did. I want you to be better than me.
yeah,
And here are the consequences.
yeah,
And I lay him out there and I'm like, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, and this is what happened to me. Be smarter than me. And sometimes he listens, sometimes he doesn't. One thing that I've surprised him with is that he has had questions about biblical history, and I've been able to explain. Like, he asked me where Judaism started, and I went into the story about Abraham and the New Covenant and all that, and he just sat there. He goes, "How do you know this?" And I said, "Because I read the Bible."
yeah,
And I'm like, "You need to get off your butt and you need to start reading your Bible."
yeah.
And he saw me reading my Bible growing up. That was another thing. I'm the example.
You're the
So he
example.
saw me having quiet time. He saw me listening to Christian podcasts. He
Yeah,
saw me reading books. So he knows that I did that. And he's like, "Yeah, you're right. I got to read my Bible."
yeah. Now, we're getting ready to wrap up, but this is what I want you to do. I want you to hit the like and subscribe button. Let us know where you're watching from because we want to be able to shoot more content like this, helping men, helping families, because we are a church who is walking with you as you grow with Christ. That's our heart. is that we want to see you become disciple makers of faith, hope, and love. We want to see you where God sees you and walk with you as God walks with you. But I have one last thing for these
Mm.
men that may be watching, or families that may be watching. What is one encouraging thing that you would want to talk to a dad today who just feels like his back is up against the wall? His teenagers getting ready to leave to go off to college or go off to the military. Life has seemed like it has just weighed him down. He feels like he is missing the mark as a father, as a dad, being there for his kids. He just feels like, God, what are you doing? What would you today speak to that man looking at this camera? What would you tell that man to keep doing or keep going? What would you tell him today?
I would tell your children, your daughter and your son, number one, I know I made mistakes. I know that I've fallen short in a lot of ways, but I love you and I
Yeah,
care about you and I only want the best for you.
yeah,
And just make sure that they know that you love them, and make sure that they also know, hey, you may not be underneath my roof, but I am always here for you. And then you got to follow through and you got to be consistent with that.
yeah. I love your goals so
Consistency,
much. Yeah,
consistency though is
yeah,
what's important,
yeah,
because actions speak louder than words.
yeah.
If you I can say I love you all day long, but if I don't follow through with that and
That's good.
demonstrate
That's
that
good.
through my actions,
That's
it
good.
means nothing. It's just an empty word.
Mm,
Follow up with text messages, follow up with phone calls,
that's good.
follow up with them when they're in town, or if they're in the military, they're back in town. Make a point of getting together with them. And with the military, they're not going to have their phones. Write them a letter, write them a card,
Yeah,
okay? And just, I'm not saying get like all emotional. Just say, hey, I miss you and I love you and I hope you're doing great. I'm proud of you. And there's another thing. You got to just tell them, I'm proud of you. I love you. And then you got to show them.
yeah,
And that's the most important thing. And then they have to know that if they need you, they can call you.
yes, absolutely.
And if you do those things, especially for a teenager, that will mean the world for them. Like my son knows that if he's away in college and something happens to him and I need to go there, I will. And he goes out of state. He knows I'm going to drop it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be there. But he also knows if he messes up and he doesn't do what he needs to do, or if he gets into trouble, he's going to catch a bunch of stuff from me when I
Absolutely.
find out about it.
Absolutely. It's on
And
and popping.
and so there's still, that accountability.
Yeah,
So it's kind of it's a delicate balance, but just being consistent is what's most important.
yeah. So listen, we want you to stay encouraged, stay connected, hit like again, share button, and join us for the next Cultivate moment with your boy, Pastor Jay. I cannot wait to see you again. Hey, and also, if you're ever in the DFW area, come worship with me at Cultivate Church every Sunday at 10 a.m. Hey, all the information is going to be in the description below. But we can't wait to see you. We hope today's message blessed you. Share it on your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, your TikTok, and we can't wait to see you soon. Blessings. Take care.